Alright, what's up, guys? Here we have him, the Marvel Legends Ultron. A beautiful figure that is probably the one figure in the wave, aside from the modular Iron Man, that I was anticipating the most. He's been a figure that has been kind of sorely lacking from the shelves, and I know we had the Marvel Select version, that 3-pack version with the Hulk and Vision, and then we had the Toy Biz one. Correct me if I'm missing any, but none of them really felt like a definitive Ultron figure until I saw this. This was our chance to finally have an Ultron that would be definitive, essential, just the 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 Ultron. And I think this guy might be that figure. First off, just like the others in the wave, we get a cool package, some Cracker Jack sticker on the bottom, and then very cool comic book art on the back and the sides. The bottom here, you see all the other figures in the wave. The read-up reads, Robot Maniacal Genius, Science Experiment Gone Wrong. Ultron is the supreme weapon of mass destruction and a mortal threat to the Avengers and all humankind. Very, very cool. I am super excited to talk about this guy. Let's get into it. So for the first accessory, we get this little fizzling, kind of crackling substance that comes out of Ultron, kind of just power seeping out of him. You can kind of pop it in the mouth like that, and it just looks really, really dope. And the thing is, without it though, Ultron's mouth is just kind of a black void. Would have been nice if they painted the kind of fizzling power, balls coming out of his mouth, orbs, whatever, the crackling stuff. But they didn't do that, and I kind of get why, because Ultron's mouth in all actuality is probably just black, but he has this stuff shooting out, and you can put it any which way you want it. I guess there's multiple ways you could do it. Like, that looks cool, that looks cool. I mean, anything really works, but I'm pretty sure it's mostly meant to do it like this. And again, it's all kind of personal preference, but I'm probably going to have them displayed like that. That looks very dope, and I'm very pleased. And you can see the crackle kind of just is red on the actual rounded parts, and the bits in between are all kind of a translucent yellow color, kind of like flames or something. Just very hot and spicy looking. Very dope. I should also mention too, when you actually get this in, ain't gonna come out. So with Ultron, we get two different gripping hands. He has nothing to hold, but they match the armor and they are sculpted pretty well. So whatever. Then you get two fists, and both again look just like the other hands. A nice kind of chrome silver look. Very, very cool, sculpted very nice. Then you get one kind of power hungry hand, which is essential to any badass supervillain. And it looks very, very good, and it does have a horizontal hinge in it. So you can kind of angle it towards him, which gives him, really emphasizes that crazy power hungry look of every supervillain. So very, very cool. Digging it. So as the classic Ultron should look, this dude is very smooth looking, but he has some very, very nice line work, which really, channels that classic Ultron look, as you see here. The Ultron on the package has more of a bluish look, but in all reality, he's supposed to be like silver. So I mean, down the line, if they did like a retro like Iron Man line, it would be really cool if they added some shadowing and really made him look super like comic booky. But that's a nerd's dream. Can't be too hopeful. But this is very dope looking, and I'm very happy with him. Again, you can see all the line work throughout the arms, pinless joints. What's great too is in this line work, they had the opportunity to make these joints really hidden, and they utilized it really well. Even this diaphragm joint, this pivot and rotation, swivel, whatever, is kind of, hiding. Because if you look at that classic art, he has that line wrapping around his rib cage. It matches, and they hid the articulation in there very nicely. You see the spikes on the top too. Very cool. They are sharp too. They're very pointy, kind of channeling the McFarlane feel of some pointy parts on the shoulders and stuff, which is cool. I dig it. And again, the head sculpt looks fantastic. He does have nostrils. I'm not sure Ultron even breathes. The red eyes look fantastic. Maybe could have been a tad bit smaller possibly, but still looks very, very cool. All the line work on the top looks fantastic as well, and the ears look very good. And of course, the most essential piece of Ultron is the mouth, and it looks fantastic. Would have been cool to see some line work on the chin, but I'm being nitpicky. Very, very, very pleased with this. The neck as well looks good. The back looks good. The ass looks good. And the legs have, again, great line work, all sculpted throughout. You can even see these like lines that have like a lip, a ridge. They look fantastic, these raised lines. And even the hands have line work as well. The bottom of the boots also have sculpting. You can see the like jets on the bottom or something. Very dope. Overall, I think the proportions as well are very good. I'm very, very pleased. Again, it's a very sleek, streamlined, smooth design, as Ultron should look. Very robotic, yet human in a way. Like the most human robot you'd ever see, aside from the face. Almost looks like a dude in a robot suit. The other thing that should be talked about is these shoulder pads. Again, they've been doing this with a lot of the like Black Series clone troopers. With War Machine, we saw it. That is actually a piece tucked behind the pin on this shoulder. So it rotates back and forth and doesn't get in the way of the articulation when you move. It doesn't hinder anything. You pop the arms up too, you can always rotate it that way, and I mean even go higher if you wanted to and then kind of rotate it back. You can make the looks work really well because of these almost like articulated rotating shoulder pads. So I'm glad they put that in, and I think overall this figure couldn't have been done any better by anybody else. I am so satisfied. And again, the silver on this dude is fantastic. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of paint work going on. Obviously, there isn't. Like, why would you need to? But where they do have the paint work, like the eyes, it looks really solid. There's a little bit of bleeding in the corner there, but again, some of that's just factory QC stuff that, you know, it's nothing. Overall, you'd never notice that, and God, he just looks gorgeous, dude. Very pleased. So for the articulation of Ultron, his head is just on a hinge, a bald hinge. So his head goes back very, very far, forward very far. The jaw is kind of soft too, so it's not going to break or anything. His head does kind of pivot there and obviously rotates. The arms go up, as you saw, very far, and you can really manipulate that too. So the arms have a lot of movement. There's obviously the rotation, and the shoulder pad moves as well. And then, of course, there's a rotation there at the bicep, double jointed elbows, rotation at the wrist. Every single hand has that horizontal hinge. There is a rotation here as well as a pivot, and he can go forward about that far, back about that far. The thing that's great too is this chest piece is actually soft plastic, kind of like we saw in the 80th anniversary cap. So you'll see if you bend him forward here, that piece actually pushes out a little bit, so your articulation isn't terribly hindered. And I mean, he does go down pretty far for just having that kind of swivel. Then it goes back about that far, as well as you can see it's still bending there too. Kind of cool they put the soft plastic. I really like that. There is a rotation at the waist as well. Glad they added that. Very cool to have that extra articulation. The legs do go out about that far. They don't have a drop down or anything. They go forward about that far. They go back about this far. There is a rotation at the thigh. We do have double jointed pinless knees and a hidden rotation there. Very cool. Again, they really utilize that line work. I love that. Hinge at the foot. Goes up about that far and down about that far. Points very nicely. And there is a beautiful ankle pivot on this dude. And then here's Ultron next to my custom painted myself, Red Skull. And you can see they're about the same height. Ultron's a tiny bit taller. Then next to the modular Iron Man, Ultron is still just a tiny bit taller. And next to Cap, they're roughly about the same height, give or take a little bit, but it looks like Ultron might be just a tad bit taller. And then you can see he is up to, or a little bit above, Thanos' shoulder. And then next to a 7-inch scale figure from the DC Multiverse line, we have the Injustice Flash. And you can see he's a lot shorter than the Flash. Then for fun, here he is next to Wrecker from the Bad Batch show. Or the Bad Batch, just in general, I guess. They're in the Clone Wars and the new show. And you can see even next to Wrecker, the biggest character of the Bad Batch, the most broad, he's still just a tiny bit taller. Even, tough to say. I think they're about the same height, honestly. Okay, being perfectly honest, I think this guy is the best Ultron figure we have ever seen. Hands down. He's just a tad bit bigger than the other Legends, so it makes sense, in terms of comic book proportions. Ultron should be just a little bit bigger. The articulation is phenomenal. They went above and beyond with it. We have that nice disc hinge at the neck with a ball joint, so he can look super far up. We even have little jets on the bottom of his feet where you can plug in different blast effects you've gotten with other figures. And of course, just the overall design, the proportioning, the sculpt is just phenomenal. I think Hasbro really outdid themselves. Of course, I could nitpick here and there. It would be cool to see some classified series kind of butterfly joints on this guy. Would really emphasize that power look. Maybe just one paint issue, problem, whatever. It'll be cool to see some different accessories, I guess. I mean, these gripping hands are kind of useless, so it would have been cool to maybe get some, I don't know, blast effects or something. But overall, I think they knocked this figure out of the park. And honestly, I don't think the actual figure itself, in terms of the sculpt, the detailing, the paint work, the design, could get any better than this. I think he's absolutely phenomenal. In terms of accessories, oh yeah, he's capable of a lot more, but it's only because I want to add to this figure and just help him shine because he's so good, man. So 10 out of 10, I think this figure is phenomenal. One of the strongest in the wave next to the modular Iron Man and Ironheart. Ironheart's the other one that I think is just fantastic. But overall, I totally recommend this guy. He's worth the $22. I think it'd be unfortunate if you didn't have him on your shelf. With that said, thank you guys for watching this video. Stay tuned for more reviews. They'll be coming soon. And please stay happy, stay healthy, and make sure you get vaccinated and keep yourself safe and your loved ones safe and your neighbor and your friend and anybody you see in public if you have a soul. So, thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Keep collecting. Peace.